Remember when we were kids and you could play for hours? I mean, hours and hours on end with whatever it is that interested you. Like you would just get lost in it, right? And if you think about it today as an adult, there are still things that you can just do for hours on end. Binge watch Netflix, for example. You need absolutely no discipline or motivation to do that, right? Maybe it's hang out with friends, read, whatever it is. The point is that there are so many things, if you look in your life, where you do them with no problem. Like you'll spend hours doing them. What happened between being a kid and like having these dreams of what you want to do someday or be someday to now becoming an adult and all this emotional resistance and friction exists to taking action? Like what happened? Where does that shit come from? So here's an idea that you can try that might just help you become way more productive and happier. Don't. Just don't. Quit. You don't have to. You don't have to accomplish this or accomplish that. Like, who told you that you have to build that 7-figure business, or you have to create this, or you have to become that? Like, who told you? You don't have to. See, when we were kids, we played playtime. We played with things, games, etc. That interested us. Like these were things that naturally interested us and they pulled us. And there was no pressure. There was no pressure for any sense of accomplishment in terms of self-worth or self-esteem. So even if you were, playing video games and you were trying to level up to a certain level, or computer games, none of that was linked to your self-worth, your status. It was simply for the love of the game, right? I would dare say that there are levels of video games and computer games that you used to unlock and crush that are harder things to achieve than maybe some of the IRL, in the real world, goals that you might have for yourself as an adult. In terms of the amount of mental computing power, consistency, time investment, effort, focus, etc., there are things that you may have accomplished already with video games and computer games that are harder than, in terms of just raw effort required, are harder than the things you have some of the goals you have as an adult that you can't seem to accomplish, procrastinate on, have issues getting motivated, focused, or disciplined with. And it all comes down to one thing: emotional resistance, emotional friction. There's some sort of a meaning that we now apply to this outcome, this thing, this goal, this task. And it's the meaning and how we feel about it that's fucking everything up. How might you have the same natural pull, attraction for, and desire to do the way to do and to take action and take effort and to put in effort on the things that you now have as goals as an adult that you used to just have naturally for the things you enjoyed when you were younger, a kid, a teenager, and there wasn't any meaning of status and significance, self-worth and self-esteem attached to the outcome of what you used to play with. Though again, in terms of raw computing power, you might have accomplished greater feats in video games than you have in the real world. Now, I don't mean that to be demeaning or disrespectful. I'm just saying, think about it. See, you never saw it as work. You saw it as play. So, and the things that you played on, you didn't care. You didn't have to. Nobody told you you had to do those games. You naturally found things that interested you, and then you would become absorbed in those things for hours and days. You would obsess about it for weeks, months, talk about it with your friends and so forth. Right? No emotional friction, no resistance. Why? Nobody told you you had to. There was no, if you don't do this X thing, then you won't get Y status and Z result. Now, as adults, we have all these little formulas that we've created in our heads subconsciously and consciously through warped layers of limiting beliefs, subconscious beliefs, perspectives, experiences, and on and on and on and on. So, take everything that's in your goals, on your goal list, things you're procrastinating on, things you're not getting around to, and just ask yourself, what if I just etch-a-sketched all this shit? Like, maybe you don't want to do a 7-figure business. Maybe you want to go live in a van and consult doing some stuff on your laptop through Upwork.com and gig websites online, and you want to just have one of those like camper vans and you want to live like that for the next 2-3 years. I lived out of a backpack for over a year, backpacking through Panama, Colombia, and the coast of California. Taking gigs through what at the time was elance.com and making just enough money to get by. And let me tell you, I lived life. And I'm still living life because now I'm choosing this game. The key is, are you choosing it because you want it, because you just want to have fun with it for the sake of the game? So I'm not saying to not build that business or to accomplish that goal or to grow that career or whatever it might be. I'm just asking you, if you have so much emotional resistance around it to where you're procrastinating and so forth, and you feel undisciplined and lazy, you're not undisciplined and lazy. I mean, look at how consistent you are at procrastinating and not consistently taking action. That, in a perverse, ironic, reverse way, is discipline. You're disciplined at not being disciplined, you see, right? But you're disciplined in emotional resistance. I mean, if you think about it, by definition, that is discipline. So stop. For a day, for a week, stop everything. And just ask yourself, do I really want this? Because remember, what other people eat doesn't make you shit. Meaning, what other people think, it isn't going to create a life for you. So take a day or a few days or a week to not work on any of those goals that you've been procrastinating on for a while and just see how you feel. Maybe you'll just stop thinking about them and you'll realize you're not the one that ever chose them. And if you still want to go after them, then choose to go after them with the joy of, this is a game, like a video game or computer game, and I just want to level up. I want to hit these levels. I want to play the game for the sake of playing the game. I want to see how this goes. I want to have this experience for the sake of the experience. I want to have the fun. I want to build a 7-figure business. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to. And then play and get lost in it for hours. And it'll actually energize you instead of drain you. You'll actually be attracted to it and pulled to it instead of constantly experiencing emotional resistance to it, procrastinating, putting it off, then judging yourself for doing that, and then getting into this negative vortex and spiral, and you're just always in this like churn, right? Where it's like where the ocean waves meet the land and there's always this froth and this churn. You're always in this state of like emotional churn, feeling guilt, shame, anger, desire, apathy, and so that's all. Just, do you really want to do it? Did you actually choose the goals that you have on your list? The things you say you want to accomplish? If you're not making consistent progress, ask yourself, didn't I make consistent progress in all the games and things of interest that I had in when I was a kid and a teenager? So clearly I know how to make progress. Don't I already naturally take action on things? Now, these are the things that you procrastinate with, Netflix, books, friend, whatever, but you naturally will get absorbed in it for hours. So you clearly can focus. You clearly can take action. You're just not taking action on things that you say you need to. Well, why do you need to? Eliminate need to. Need. Eliminate it. You will never get into a state of flow from a place of need. But you do get into a place of flow, into a state of flow from a place of want and play. So Stop needing to accomplish things. Get yourself into a place of wanting to accomplish things and getting to experience it as play, the way we used to when we were kids and teenagers. And if you can't get to that state on something, I would ask you the question, should you be doing that something? That's my thought.